Good afternoon, students, parents, families. Welcome to the Arch at Rensselaer Arch Discovery Day 2021. My name is Jade Felder, Director of the Arch and Student Transitions, and we are going to get started right away. We want to maximize our time with you all, and so we are going to start off with a welcome, and I will do an overview, but first we want to welcome our Vice President of Student Life, Dr. Konwerski, to say a few words as we start our session.
Thank you, Jade. And I want to begin by welcoming everyone on behalf of the Institute leadership. I'm actually off campus with our Institute leadership, including Dr. Jackson, all the vice presidents and deans, and we're in a retreat today planning for the year. And obviously the Arch is an incredible part of that upcoming year. So let me just say welcome and congratulations to the class of 2024. We're so excited for you to embark upon the Arch experience. Let me also just say welcome back. I know in a few days you'll be arriving back on campus, and we have a variety of events that will take place to support you as you transition back to your residential experience and as you start your second year on campus. Let me say that we just completed the Arch Summer 2021. We had a great summer, and despite the challenges of the pandemic, we've actually had a very successful summer, and students have done incredibly well. They finished exams late last week and moved out on Saturday. And we look forward to welcoming a number of them back who will be back on campus for their fall semester. But about a third of our students will be away for the fall semester, and roughly 2/3 will be away for a spring semester. And so our work is now to pivot to support you as you prepare. So I just wanted to say a few things as you kind of use the most of this Arch Discovery Day time. The first is actually just to make you feel welcome and to let you know that you have an incredible group of staff and faculty who are going to support you throughout your next year and then into the Arch Away experience. And let me begin by saying you will take full advantage, you'll be successful if you take full advantage of the people on this call, the staff, the faculty, your colleagues, your peers, and most notably, those who are not engaged right now, alumni and corporate partners. Those are people you're going to meet over the course of the next year. So make sure the Rensselaer community is deep and wide. Make sure you take full advantage of all those contacts, most of whom you're going to meet today and you'll stay in touch with throughout the next year. Second is to focus on academics, and academics are really the crux of why we're all here. So I'd encourage you to take full advantage of the advising and support you're going to get, whether it's from your school, your hub, your academic advisor, an individual professor, or specifically the Office of Undergraduate Education. They're there to support you and make sure you have the best and most unique individual experience possible. The third is, you're going to hear more about this, but we've designed a number of initiatives just for your cohort. So the Arch Career Course is an example of that. You're going to have specific content developed for you to prepare you to be an effective student. And you'll hear more about that today. So I would encourage you to take full advantage of that and all the other resources of the CCPD. And they'll be there to help you plan for your away semester, no matter what you do. And with that, we do have a special tool for you, Handshake, which I hope you've all engaged with and built a profile on, uploaded a resume, and started to prepare. Handshake will become the place for internships, co-ops, civic engagement, and research opportunities. We also know you'll have a full opportunity to pursue an idea of your own making, an individual learning experience, or other study abroad domestically or globally. So with that, I just encourage you to have a great time this year. Welcome back. Continue to power forward on all your academic pursuits. And all of us on this call look forward to working with you as you embark on the Arch journey. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Konwerski, for those words. We appreciate you being with us today. I am actually really excited that we are online with you all to really walk you through this experience, and having Dr. Konwerski to really kick us off. We are headed into a great fall semester. So thank you again, Dr. K, for being with us. I am going to take you all through a quick overview and jump right in. So there are a few things I want to say first, that I need you all to have your notes out on your phone, perhaps, or have pen and paper with you. We do have a live link that you can submit additional questions into the feedback form, which is in the YouTube description link. So we've placed that link there. So as the presenters are speaking, we will be addressing the majority of the questions that you have submitted in your confirmation registration form. So all of our presenters have been briefed on all of the different questions that you all have been asking. So our goal today is really to make sure you leave here with a really good wealth of knowledge. With that being said, a lot of information is going to be given out today. This morning at 8 a.m., all students received a resource material link that included your ARCH calendar, in addition to your ARCH academic sessions and the handshake link. So those are three important areas that we want to make sure you are ready to rock and roll with as we get started. Please make sure you're taking notes. Please make sure you're using that live link. If there are additional questions that you have, once we get to the panel portion of the presentation, we will jump in to try to answer as many questions as we can in our limited time together. So I'm going to start us off with a briefing, and then we'll go through some planning and important dates. You will talk to your class dean of your cohort. Then we will jump into the semester away planning, which I know is a really, really essential piece for all of you, and where the bulk of your questions have come from. So we do have Dr. Powell with us and Director Bruce with us to really help walk you through the process of planning for your semester away. Then we'll do some panel Q&A. We'll go through some reminders, and then we will be free to go. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. And we are going to talk about what is the ARCH at Rensselaer for all students as they matriculate with us. The ARCH at Rensselaer and its intentionality, really, you all did not get a chance to spend your first year on campus with us. So this is really your first introduction to this information and why it's important that each one of the Rensselaer students has an experiential education. So the first thing is we're going to be accelerating you in immersion in both the academic and professional worlds. It's important that you are becoming a career person, a professional person, and really making that transition from a college student to a professional colleague in the field. And that would be any field of your academic school and discipline. So that is the first thing, the acceleration of immersion. By the end of your graduation, you should have some experience in your major discipline getting ready to leave RPI. The second thing is the advising. We have academic advising that is going to be a key point. As Dr. Konwerski alluded to, you are going to need to make sure that your academic advising is inclusive of your semester away planning. So in making sure that you have prerequisites or a fall only course or a spring only course, that is why it's going to be extremely important that you attend your ARCH academic session as it is going to be labeled for the next 2 weeks. The career counseling piece should be starting right now. You should be utilizing your handshake link to get connected to your career counselor. They are ready today. They have been ready to assist. So we want to make sure you start to get comfortable with the mechanisms and the vernacular needed in order to land these interviews. The next thing is the leadership development, which is really just the obligato on top. It really is making sure that you're taking that one step further to build your confidence and to build your understanding of how to show up for yourself. So that's really an important part of the intentionality. The third thing is the unique academic and co-curricular experience. The summer term on campus is like none other. And just how we just finished the summer term 2021, we really want to hone in on cohort affinity. We hosted barbecues where we had over 200 plus students that came out, different activities, different lawn games. We hosted movie nights. Students went up to Grafton Lake. They really enjoyed coming together as a cohort. And that's what we talk about when we say a co-curricular experience. But we also prepare the students as far as discipline, because this is the first time that you are getting into that junior level discussion and discipline within your classes. The reclustering of the cohort across disciplines is what we want to do. As a freshman, and as a sophomore, it's an introduction. But once you get to the ARCH summer term, we start to pivot and you start to see your student peers as now potential professional colleagues. And now we start to move into a place of thinking long-term and externally outside of Rensselaer and beyond graduation. More focused and meaningful engagement with your faculty, because you will be the only cohort on campus in the summer term. The ratio is smaller. You are not in these foundational courses anymore, like differential equations or embedded control. You're not in IED anymore. now you are getting into those courses that are going to require a lot more in-depth discussion, attention, time. You also get to know your faculty outside of the classroom with all the different opportunities for engagement. And the last thing really is in terms of self-discovery. This is a turning point for you all. No matter what it looks like, this is going to be a turning point to where you say, I want to continue in computer science, or maybe I want to start to look at something different, maybe computers and systems engineering. This is where self-discovery is really going to take on a new role for you all and really solidify where you are headed after graduation. The next thing is intellectual agility, multicultural sophistication, and a global perspective. That is what the class outcomes are for our institution for all students who matriculate through Rensselaer. So the next thing I want to discuss is the cohort breakdown. What is the plan of study for all sophomores at Rensselaer, no matter your different subpopulation? So 4 years to graduation, of course, you all are aware of that. If you're an architecture student, 5 years, 8 semesters of instruction, 8 semesters of financial aid, and that will be 10 semesters of instruction and 10 semesters of financial aid if you are in architecture. The red is for the sophomore year, and you see it's highlighted for a reason. It is because this is the most important year in terms of arch preparation, starting with your opening session today and the amount of information you're going to receive, rolling into the fall term and starting the spring term with your arch exploration and planning course. And then we move into the arch summer term with an arch orientation. So there are going to be multiple communications at any point in your sophomore year where you're going to be prompted to make sure you're on track to have a semester away planned, secured, and you're doing the correct follow-up to make sure that you secure that. In the junior year, you will spend your time away. So you need to start thinking about what that looks like for you as a student. Do I want to be a fall away student or a spring away student? Some of you have that predetermined by your academic major. So we want to make sure you look on the Arch website under Institute policies where your semester away designations are. If it says fall and spring, then you have a choice to go either or. If it says fall away, such as civil engineering, then you will actually be away in the fall. If it says spring away, such as some other majors, then you will need to select spring, okay? So in the Arch calendar that you received today, it is highlighted when semester away selection begins. It begins in the spring and the dates are already set there. So please make sure you refer to your Arch calendar for all the important dates. The last year, your senior year, you're getting ready for graduation, or you're getting ready for co-term, or you're getting ready to go into your BS PhD. So we want to make sure that you're ready by that time period. The only other thing I want to say about the cohort plan of study is that all students during their Arch summer term are required to live on campus. So we want to make sure that this is clear and explicit today so that we minimize the amount of confusion as we get further down the line. Now, I also wanted to provide you all with a sample of the summer semester schedule. As you can see, this is an engineer. So you're going to have classes beginning at 8 a.m. And going through the day, just as you would in a regular fall or spring term. One of the things I want to direct your attention to is the common lunch period. During the summer term, this is something unique to the summer where the students really are able to reconnect and again, build that cohort affinity. The last thing is you typically do trips. On Wednesdays, we do things after hours between 5 and 9 p.m. That's when we try our best to make sure students receive some sort of support and engagement. The residential experience, the assistant deans, deans on duty, everyone is there to create intentional efforts to make sure that you are enjoying your summer, but also being very intentional with your time and getting through your classes. So as far as Arch planning in review, the top things that I want to leave you with that I please screenshot this page or write down in your notes. This is what you need to be preparing for. Your semester away selection is at the top of the spring term. Your Arch and Exploration Planning course with the CCPD begins in the spring. Your semester away opportunity, you need to secure it prior to going into the term. So if you're a fall away student, you should be ready to rock and roll by the end of the summer. If you're a spring away student, you should be ready to rock and roll by December of the fall term. Registering your experience in SIS, we're going to talk a little bit about that during Arch planning workshops in the spring, so you can get ready to register those experiences correctly. Completing your FAFSA, you're going to hear a lot about that information, handshake profiles, and your Arch requirement is going into degree work. So all of these things are encompassing of the Arch requirement, and we want to make sure that everyone is on track to being successful in their sophomore year. So at this time, I am now going to turn it over to all of our wonderful presenters to completing this overview. We are going to start with our Director of Financial Aid, and then we're going to turn it over to our Associate Bursar, who is with us, Michelle. Okay, Marty, it's all on you.
All right, well, thank you very much, Jade, and students, welcome to the Arch year of your enrollment. We look forward to working with you through this excellent and exciting development timeframe. The first slide we have up here just really captures the basic policy parameters around how financial aid is awarded. And for students as they're coming in, as Jade mentioned, all students except architecture have a maximum of 8 semesters of RPI gift aid eligibility. Architecture students, it's 2 additional for a total of 10. The general idea through the Arch year is just simply that for the semesters when you're on campus taking classes and being charged tuition, we line up your financial aid to pay based on your enrollment plan. And so that sounds like a pretty simple concept, but I know that sometimes it can get complicated. And so when you're looking at the scheduling and are you going to be Arch away in the fall or away in the spring and this and that, understand that my office will be getting administrative reports through the Arch office that will let us know kind of as your plans start, and then they also let us know as your plans change. One thing we know for everybody, you know, with a few exceptions, is that the summer is going to be a term of charges, of enrollment, and a term of financial aid. So that's why we ask you to fill out the FAFSA by December 31st this year, so that we can have your awards processed so that the aid is on your bill for the summer, okay? In financial aid, we say March is for Arch. So fill out your FAFSA by the end of December, and then in March, we process the awards so they show on the bill starting in April. And generally, you can expect to have the same per semester awards for your Arch year as you had in any other year. The basic policies around renewal really don't change, and then you're only charged tuition when you're enrolled in courses. And then as mentioned, you only receive the aid when you're in those classes as well. All right, for the next slide, see, Jade, I thought, let's see. There we go. We talk about the application reminders, and for the FAFSA requirement, of course, for a continuing student, that's the application for your need-based grants from RPI, as well as federal and state sources. Technically, it's also what you need to be qualified for federal work study in your loans. And so again, as I mentioned, please file by December 31st, and that way we will be able to have your award processed in a timely manner. And just the last asterisk on there is just simply, if all you receive is a merit scholarship and you don't intend to apply for any student loans, we will award that merit-only award to you as well without the FAFSA. So it's if you want your need-based awards or you want your student loan funding, then you have to do the FAFSA. All right, a couple more kind of fine-tuning points around some of the rules. And keep in mind that you cannot borrow a student loan to cover housing charges if you're not also enrolled in courses. And that doesn't matter if you're living in Troy or you're living in California or you're living in Texas, it doesn't matter. The housing component of financial aid eligibility always is coupled with an enrollment or tuition. So that's basically builds to no loans, only for housing. And also keep in mind that if you do have student loans, that you want to make sure you register for your away semester activity, because you need to be showing as in school at least half time to remain eligible for your in-school loan deferment. So even though the Arch away activity is considered general enrollment to remain eligible for the deferment, you still have to register for that 1-hour class, okay? So make sure you're following Jade's instructions, you do those things well, and this will go pretty smoothly for you. And certainly when you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And this slide talks a little bit more about the loan topic. in terms of participating in the ARCH activity retains your deferment eligibility, even though that it's not a firm course enrollment. And that's important because if you don't register and you expire your grace period, then those last items come into play where essentially you're considered to no longer be in school, and then you begin repayment on the loans. And the grace period for most loans is 6 months, and you only get it one time. So if you're a student, for example, that would have a spring away, and then you're going to be away that following summer, that's going to be more than 6 months. So you definitely need to register for that away experience for the spring, else you would go into repayment on your loans. And here we have kind of an updated view of our assistant director coverage. I just updated this the other day. And so you can see based on last name who you would be working with within the financial aid office. We are kind of opening up again starting this week, so we'll have our walk-up windows open in Academy Hall, but we are definitely still favoring electronic communication. So email us with your questions, email us if you want to set up an appointment. We'd rather see you virtually than in person. And I think that was it for the financial aid section. So I'll switch it over to Jade and then Michelle Orzel.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Really kind of simple, and I'm going to, feed off of what Marty said. The student account information, you can access that, and I'm sure all of you know that by now, through SIS or your bill. Again, remember SIS is real time. The bill is a snapshot of the day we send it. So you'll want to make sure you're aware of that and not getting confused by that. Like right now, you're seeing large balances because your aid hasn't paid on SIS, but your bill's showing something different. Just keep that in mind as you move forward into ARCH as well, because until the aid pays in the summertime, you'll have balances when you get your April and your May bills. Bills are issued at the beginning of each month, as you're aware. They will come out in April for the ARCH semester. You'll want to make sure you're registered by that time and not hold off, because that will send you into some payment issues that you're going to want to understand. If you're going to do a payment plan, especially, that is going to come into play. And just some dates for you to know. Obviously, the fall bill was sent to you July 8th and was due already on the 13th of August. Spring will come out on December 1st and will be due January 7th. And as I mentioned, the ARCH bill will be issued April 1st with a due date of what's outstanding on your part by the 25th of April. Payments, simple, just like we do now. Online checking payments through your savings or checking account. We do now accept credit cards. Please, by all means, use your credit card. I know we've been having people want to do that for years, and we've finally figured out a way to get that to work for us and you as well. There is a fee, just so you know. International is 4.25 and domestic is 2.75. That will be tacked on, and it'll ask you that. It's not like it's a secret. You'll see that, and it'll question it whether you're approving that or not. Definitely, you can still send your checks in. You can bring them in. As Marty said, our office is now open and we share the same space. Mailing address, your child can walk in the check. Just please always make sure the RIN is included on anything that you submit to our office. International payments, Flywire. It is a quick, simple way. We've received hundreds and hundreds of payments already yet this year. It works really well, and we do encourage it highly for international payments. The big thing, as Marty stated, the FAFSA. The FAFSA comes into play not only for financial aid, but for us as well. The sooner you get your FAFSA in, the sooner financial aid can help you out and package you, and the sooner it'll look like your bill is paid to you. This is important. We're coming across some students now who have forgotten to do it. Please mark that down as probably one of the most important things you can do to kick off your ARCH semester, is to make sure that you file your FAFSA in a timely fashion. It helps, it eases it when it comes time to April. You'll be looking for your aid, and then you'll remember, oh my God, I haven't done my FAFSA. Definitely mark that down as probably one of the most important things you need to do in a timely fashion. That is when you will open and calculate what's due. Then you can open up your payment plan. Payment plans will come available to you to do for the ARCH semester in mid-April. Payments will be May, June, July. You get 3 months to pay. So once that April bill comes out, you'll have that month to determine what you need to make your payment for or what you need to set up your payment plan for. We want to make sure that you are aware that holds and late fees do go on for all past due accounts. We do try to be as lenient as we can, but when we get to a certain point, we can't hold back for someone who hasn't filed their FAFSA. It's now the middle of July. We do need you to be prompt on the things that need to get done because the semester does fly by rather quickly. Holds, just remember, will prevent you from receiving transcripts that you may need to get jobs, to apply to other things, scholarships, etc. It'll hold up your future registration, and it'll definitely keep you from receiving your actual paper diploma when the time comes. We don't like to talk about the outstanding balances, but if sometimes it does happen, please keep in touch with us if you're having problems. Do not wait to the last minute, because what will happen is you'll be in danger of a financial leave of absence and you won't be able to attend the following semester. So please keep in touch if you have any issues at all with financial aid or ourselves. Don't wait till the last minute is basically the message I'm sending. And here, as I mentioned earlier, is the payment plan. 4 installments for fall and spring, as they're a little bit longer semesters, 3 installments for summer. The big thing is you want to make sure you have signed up in the month of April to get the full 3 months, because if you wait till May 1st, it's down to 2 months. You want to make sure the month of April is when you sign up to get the full benefit of that. Same thing with the fall and the spring, they're 4 months each, and you want to make sure you're signed up before August 1st and before January 1st to complete and get the full 4 months out of that. And any questions, there is our information. You can email us, you can call. Like Marty said, the office is now open. We are available 8:30 to 4:30 in our Bursar suite. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you, Marty, for being with us. Students, please make sure that you are adhering to the deadlines and the timelines that they have set. That will make your transition into our summer term and into semester away run much smoothly. And I can tell you that FAFSA deadline before December 31st, you need to make sure it is done. Okay, please mark that at the top of your list so that when it is time for March for Arch in the month of March, everything can run smoothly from there. Okay, so now we are going to move to our next presenter, which you should become very, very familiar with. It is Dr. Gonyo, your sophomore class dean.
Good afternoon, and thanks, Jade, for the introduction. My name is Dr. Claire Gonyo, but you're welcome to call me Claire or Dean Gonyo or Dr. Gonyo if you prefer using a title. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I really am excited to be here today and to welcome you to your sophomore year at RPI. And I'm excited to be your class dean. I've been at RPI for nearly 3 years now, and this is my second time as a sophomore class dean. This time I know, though, that the past year and a half has looked very different for all of us. But I look forward to us finding our new normal this year, and I'm excited to have you all back on campus. We recognize that whether you were on campus last year or not, you did not have a typical first year of college. As a result, we've planned some special welcome back programming for you, or for some of you, welcome, who've never been to campus before. Please keep an eye out on your email, because I will be sending out an email to you in the next few days with details about programming going on when you come back to campus. I really do encourage you all to take some time to look at that and find some opportunities to get out there, to meet people, to get to know people, and the campus a little better. It's really important to us that you have the opportunity to really become a part of the RPI community. So as far as being a class dean, if you're wondering when you should contact your class dean, here are a couple of examples. If you're struggling to keep up in your classes and have received an EWS, we can discuss strategies to improve your academic performance. If you're facing some difficult life situations, at home, academically, and you don't know where to start or how to resolve your issues or who to reach, you can always start with reaching out with me, your class dean. Of course, class deans also help with administrative tasks like excused absences, which you can do online, leaves of absence, and readmission. I also strongly encourage you to join the Student Success Discord server. Over the course of the pandemic, it's become a great resource for students to pop on and ask questions they may have and get a timely response. I sent the Discord link out to you in the introductory email I sent to you over the summer, and it's also available on the Student Success website. The vision of my office, Student Success, involves engaging students in authoring their unique definition of success. I hope that you're able to author your own definition of success if you have not already done so. And if you need some help along the way, you can call on me as one of the many resources available to you at RPI. I'm certain that the Arch will be a great experience for you. Being in Troy during the summer is lovely, and assuming the pandemic permits it, there are typically many fun programming opportunities to check out on campus and fun things to do in the city of Troy. I've also talked with students who've had some really valuable experiences on their semester. Some have loved their experiences, and some have had experience that maybe they didn't love, but helped them to identify what they really did want to pursue. Either way, you're in for a win-win situation that will provide you with great experience and insights on what you might want to pursue upon graduating from RPI. In closing, if you need to reach me, feel free to email me or visit the Student Success website to set up an appointment with me. I'll be holding appointments virtually, but I'm absolutely here to serve as a resource for you. I'm excited to be on this journey with you from today through the Arch all the way to graduation. Here's to a safe and great year.
So much. Thank you so much, Claire. And students, please make sure you reach out to Dean Gonyo. She is here for a reason. I promise you, she is going to be the support system that you need. So please make sure that you connect with her. Now we want to get into, I would call the most anticipated part of the Arch at Rensselaer presentations through and through, all in all. So I am now going to turn it over to Dr. Powell and Director Bruce, who are going to walk you through what the planning for the semester away looks like. Please make sure that you are taking notes, as I know most of you had a lot of questions that pertain to how do I get help with finding my semester away? Who's going to support me in this? And so we're going to turn it over to our Institute stakeholders who can help you do that. So I'm going to start with Dr. Powell, and we're going to open up with the undergraduate education portion.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Jade. I appreciate that. I am Dr. Tiffany Powell, and I am the director of the Arch Academic Programs. And my office is housed in the Office of Undergraduate Education. And it is a place where all things related to away semester concerns, questions, and answers. We strive very diligently to find answers that are going to meet your unique needs. That's where you can find me, and that is where you can get all of your answers sort of addressed. So I'm going to just spend a couple of moments just going over the heart of the away semester experience, which is called the ILE. And ILE, you'll notice, is a prefix in front of each one of the experiences. ILE stands for Individual Learning Experiences. So I want to start here by saying, if you reach out and you say, well, can you help me with my ILE? You're going to want to be specific. Which ILE are you referring to? And so there's a number of them, and I'm going to take a couple of moments just to briefly take you through what each one entails. The first two, which I'm going to jump in on, you'll hear even more about that when Director Bruce jumps on right after me, but it is the ILE internship and the ILE co-op. For the internship experience, it is a semester-long experience. It allows you to be able to work with various companies and organizations, other universities. Those experiences can be paid or unpaid, but it is based on a certain amount of time. It is based on the length of, and making sure there's a certain requirement of, I believe, a minimum of 260 hours of contact with that particular employer. And you are able to document that experience by staying very connected to the CCPD. The other experience is the ILE co-op, and that's more of an extended experience where it usually is a semester long plus a summer. And I think the specifics of that will be discussed in just a few moments, but I do want you to know that there is a difference in how each one of those are selected. It's based on time. It's based on sort of a scope of the work that you will be doing once those are provided for you or you are able to secure those. And you will work very closely with the CCPD on making sure that you're connecting appropriately to the employers who can help you with that opportunity. The next is the ILE Civic Engagement, and this is an opportunity for students to volunteer. This is if you want to be philanthropic and have some connections to organizations that allow you to just dive in deep and volunteer your time and services. This is some wonderful experiences that students take advantage of in this particular arena. They have all kinds of organizations that are affording you to be able to exercise that opportunity, exercise that experience rather, where you get something under your belt that maybe you didn't have before. The next one is the ILE self-designed. And there is a few different options under the self-designed umbrella. The first one is considered the traditional one. And that one, it doesn't say traditional there because there's some others that are featured that I'm going to talk about momentarily. But in the traditional ILE self-design, students do exactly that. They design their entire experience. They think about something that's of passion for them. Sometimes that passion includes studying a new language. Sometimes it includes building something or working on some type of entrepreneurial pursuit. Sometimes it includes creating an app that they want to now test out. Maybe they're extending a research experience that they had previously that they want to now work independently on. They can do that as well. The self-design option can be a combination of things as well. You can have something that you do on your own. You can have maybe a short work assignment that does not necessarily match the criteria for the internship or co-op, but it is a short work assignment, and maybe you're studying for your MCATs or your LSATs. That can definitely be a part of a self-designed traditional experience. The other is this leadership, and this is where we are focusing specifically on leadership experiences, building up our background, recognizing the type of leader that we want to be. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But the leadership centric ILE is a specific pathway under the self-designed sort of umbrella as well. We have the career centric, and this is where you are using your time to think about some employable skills that will make you even more attractive to those employers beyond your away semester experience. Sometimes you're trying to land an internship or co-op, and perhaps you weren't able to secure what you wanted, but you want to work on some employable skills. You want to work on some developing some soft skills, maybe just interviewing techniques. This is an opportunity for students to be very specific as to how they use their time that prepares them for other employment opportunities. So the away semester provides one way to be able to be employed, but it's not the only way, because even after your ARCH away semester experience, there's other semesters which you can use and have some type of employment that makes you even more attractive to your ultimate employer that you'll have once you graduate from the institution. The next, we have something that's a feature, which is kind of special. It's called the ILE Sports Management, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And what we've been noticing is that over the last year or so, each year there's a new sort of feature or a special ILE. And this particular year, we have the sports management one. Perhaps when it's your turn to go through and you're selecting your away semester, there may be even another featured ILE that you may want to partake. Well, I'll just give you a little bit of a heads up about what's happening right now. This one may continue, and there may be another. The next area is the ILE research, and this is for when students want to collaborate with RPI faculty. This particular experience is primarily remote, and you're not on campus when you do, but you're working with the faculty to be able to collaborate on some type of research endeavor and get to work closely with your professor. It's a great experience for you. In the event that you find a research experience that's at another institution, perhaps at a lab, a national lab outside of the campus, you would secure that opportunity through the CCPD. So it's going to come under that umbrella. So it won't fall under the ILE research, and it will fall under a CCPD internship type of experience that's focused on research. That can get very, very technical, and you may wonder, well, that doesn't make sense to me. How do I find support? There is support available, not only from my office, but also from the other offices, to ensure that you have the right experience labeled and the right experience registered, so that you can get the credit and also the maximum experience that you can possibly have. The next is the ILE study at another institution, and this allows students to take courses elsewhere. Sometimes that's at a community college near home. Maybe there's a course that you are needing to fill in your program. Maybe you need to take something over. Maybe you just want to enrich your experience. In the event that you decide to take this path, know that if you want to secure that experience, you must speak with your hub or your faculty advisor to ensure that that particular course or courses can be transferred back to the institution. Do not make the assumption that it's going to be able to be transferred. You want to have that conversation first. It's actually one of the requirements that's on the form that it clearly asks, have you spoken to your faculty advisor or your hub managers or the hub director somewhere, and that you've gotten some clarity that you can transfer it back. I do want to note that you do not have to transfer the credit back to the institution, but in the event that you decide to do so, you want to make sure you have that conversation beforehand. The final experience is the ILE internship experience. And this is where students study abroad and they go and take classes elsewhere. They go beyond the US borders, and there's a variety of schools that we have connected to our institution, and we support students in being able to take advantage of those. So just by way of clarification, these are the offices that are going to be your key people that you want to connect with to learn more about each of those experiences. So just to reiterate, if you're looking to secure an internship or co-op or civic engagement opportunity, you are going to connect with the CCPD. You're going to hear Director Bruce, who's the director of the CCPD, speak in just a moment. He'll tell you even more. If you're looking to look for research opportunities that are connected to RPI, study at another institution, or the variety of self-designed pathways, those are going to be directed to me in the Office of Undergraduate Education. Finally, if you have study abroad or international experience that you would like to take advantage of, you're going to contact the Office of International Programs. Just by way of just letting you know what this ILE Leadership one is about, we have collaborated with Wild Leaders. This is an organization that is housed or sort of central into Seattle, Washington. And they have worked very closely with me to help students who want to take advantage of expanding their understanding of being a leader. Leadership is extremely important, not only in just your coursework and working with other people, working with student clubs, but ultimately in your work life, you will definitely have to exercise some leadership qualities. And I want to note that just because you don't have a title that calls you a leader, you can always exercise leadership qualities. Some of the topics that are covered are things around identity, personality and character, calling and purpose, composure under pressure, learning from experience, and so much more. If you want to take advantage of this opportunity, you would select ILE Leadership, and you would participate in going through 10 assessments that take you through these topics. It's not your traditional kind of assessments where they tell you who you are at the end of your experience. As a matter of fact, you learn a lot more about yourself and ask yourself some critical questions that help you to grow and to develop. At the end of this experience, you get a certificate, and it certifies that you have gone through this process, and it's something that you can list on your resume and also be able to speak to from the experience that you gained from going through this process. The next is the ILE Sports Management, and the wonderful thing about this is that it's open to all students. So if you're someone who maybe you're not an athlete, but you absolutely love football, you can dive in. This is how you're going to get real world experience in the sports management field. You get to play a role as an assistant coach with the college football team right here at RPI. You get to actively participating in recruiting and graphic designs and all those other things, film upload and breakdown and so much more. And the best part about it is that you are supervised by an assistant coach who will give you a portfolio of tasks to complete in order for you to participate in the program. If this is something that's of interest to you, we are anticipating that it will be available again next year. You will select ILE Sports Management. And once again, it's open to all, and it is supported by someone directly who will be providing oversight. The final area is the Office of International Programs, and this is where your study abroad opportunities are housed. There are some eligibility guidelines that you want to adhere to, a minimum of 3.0, and these are for affiliate programs. Citizenship and permanent residency are some important facts to keep in mind. You can transfer credit, though there are some rules, of course, that apply, and many of those I mentioned before. There's even financial aid available that you can take advantage of if you're going to be participating in some of those programs. The things that you want to be mindful for here are the deadlines. And so right now you are thinking about next year, so next fall, in the event that you are looking for a next fall away semester experience that's internationally based, you want to take a look at those deadlines. Now, currently, our international programs are on pause because of all this happening in our world, but they may be open again for the fall of 22. So please make note of these deadlines and be sure to contact the Office of International Programs if you have any additional questions about this. Early planning is key. Do not wait to the last minute because the opportunity may totally escape you, and you do not want that to happen. If I can be of further assistance, here is my information. My email is there at OUE at rpi.edu. And if you are interested in international programs, you will reach out to Karen Dvorak, who will be more than happy to assist you.
Thank you, Dr. Powell, for that in-depth look at all of the things research, all of the things ILE, leadership, career-centric, sports management. Students, please make sure that you are taking notes on the different things of interest and what you indicated on your registration confirmation form, because you need to be in contact with Dr. Powell if you selected one of those as your primary choice. So we're going to kick it off now and talk to the CCPD, and the Director Bruce is going to take it over from here.
Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Dr. Powell. I work very closely, my team does, with Tiffany and Dr. Powell to try to make sure that you're as prepared as possible for your away experience. So Director Felder kind of share with you what the summer is going to look like. Now let's focus on what does that away semester look like. And the preparation for that begins really now. Hopefully you've already started to think about some things you might like to do, where you might like to go, which area of the ILE that you would be interested in. All of that deals with my office is the internships, co-ops, and civic engagement experiences. And we've got a team set up in an office structure that we feel like is really in a good place for you to access and get the most out of this away experience. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is how our office is structured. You have the career development team, and those folks are completely student focused. So just like you've got your own class dean, you have your own career counselor for each of your colleges. So those folks care a lot about what you want to do. They want to make sure that you're successful in whatever you pursue. And that starts with you meeting with them. And we do virtual and drop-in appointments now for this fall. So we'd love to see you in person, but also still completely accessible to you virtually, depending on what you prefer. These folks are going to be the ones that also teach the Arch Prep course, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But what we really want is for you to have a relationship with this person. So if you're thinking about going to work for, let's say, Boeing, there's certain things that Boeing requires for you to be successful in that application process. The career development team knows what they are. They can tell you what those are as well if you meet with them. So that is the biggest thing on the career development team, is making appointments with them, talking with them about your career goals so they can help you succeed. They also work closely with your faculty to understand, where your strengths are, where you're most likely to be successful in the application process. All of those things in terms of resume critiques and interview trainings, all of that, that's what that team does. Then you have, I'm going to jump down to the bottom because it's on the other side of the spectrum, and that's the employer relations team. And these people are completely focused on developing employer partner relationships. So I get questions sometimes like, do we have a drawer that we open up and hand you an internship? And the answer to that is no. Internships and job searches are not vending machines where you just put in $1 and you get, boom, co-op. That's not how that works. The employer relations team will, though, if you say, I want to work at Tesla in Texas. Great. We will make sure that Tesla has opportunities posted in Handshake for you. And that is really important, that they get that information from the career development team, that's what you're looking for and that's where you want to go. If you do that, then that team is going to be able to source those opportunities and get them into Handshake for you. They're also the ones that host the career fairs and industry networking events, industry engagements, experiences. That's all produced by the employer relations team. Now, the experiential learning team is in the middle, right? They're the ones that kind of span both the student experience and the employer side of things. These are the folks that Marty was, the director of financial aid, Marty Daniels, was talking about. you need to get your experience registered with them if it's through one of our areas. The reason that's the case is because, as Dr. Powell said, an internship is 1 semester. A co-op is multi-semesters. That typically at RPI takes the form of a fall summer or a summer spring or spring summer experience. But you can do a spring co-op in 1 year and then do a fall experience the next year with the same company. So that's all going to be depending on what job you get, what opportunity you're successful in applying for, in terms of whether it's an internship, co-op, or civic engagement experience. The registration process is important, not because we want to be in your business about how much money you're making or this and that. It is to get you registered in the experience and make sure that, you know, the employer's not taking advantage of you, that you have a tether to the institution in case there's a global pandemic. You know, it'd be nice for you to be able to communicate with somebody at the school so we can get you out of Sweden or get you out of, you know, whatever country you might be doing your internship experience in. And then finally, it's also important because we need to make sure that these employer partners are doing what they're supposed to do in terms of your development, giving you a great work experience. And these are all things that, you know, deal with both the student and on the employer side. So that's our experiential learning team and kind of how our office is set up. On the next slide, we'll talk about the Arch Prep course. Now, this is a course that you have to take, first of all. So all students, regardless of whatever cohort you're identifying with, you have to take this class in order to graduate. It is also completely up to you how seriously you take it. Okay, so this is not a course that's going to affect your GPA, but it will affect your success in securing the semester away experience you want. So those same college or career counselors that I mentioned are assigned by college. They're the ones that teach this class, and we bring employer partners in to make sure that they're reinforcing what we're telling you. So for example, you might see W.L. Gore in the engineering course talking about what they want to see on your resume when you apply for their positions if you want to go work for them. Same thing, if you're in Haas, you're going to see Sony show up and talk to you about, for game design, these are the kind of qualities and skills we want to see on your resume. Those are things that you get out of this course if you apply yourself. You can breeze through it if you want to. You already know how to do a resume. That's great. You already know how to interview virtually and in person. That's great. Then let's talk about Handshake, and let's talk about how you get notifications from employers right into your email inbox or onto your app for Handshake. So those are the kind of things that this course will teach you. Again, it is required. We want to give everybody an S because we want everybody to go through it and be successful at it. But that's essentially what it is. On the next slide is, what advice would we give a student who wants to go into this experience and be successful at it? And the first thing is to take it seriously. This is your life. You've heard my colleagues talk about how this is an individual and unique experience for each of you, and that's true. Where you want to go work, what you want to do in this world, what impact you want to have, how you want to change the world that you're living in, all of those are unique to you. If you talk to us about that, we can help you realize those things. But again, we don't hand out things. We don't think that's helpful for you to go through your college career and not learn how to secure the job you want, how to advance yourself in the career that you want to be in. So those are the things that I would encourage you to do as far as taking it serious and be intentional about it. Understand that this is your personal journey. That is the best I can say about that. It is what you want to do and how you want to do it. We're here to support you in that. Sometimes students say, well, I'm sophomore. Do I really need to go to this career fair because I don't need to, get my job right away? You do. You should go to the NSBE Shep Career Fair. You should attend events this fall. And what you should say there is, I'm looking for an away semester. I know you don't have one posted for, fall of 2022 yet, but when you do, what do you want to see on my resume? And if you ask a recruiter that question, they're going to give you answers. And then if you show back up when they post that position and you've done those things, that is going to get you an interview. So those are the kinds of things that you could be doing right now. Plus, you might find a company that you'd never heard of before or an industry that you weren't considering to be really appealing. And those are other benefits from attending those things. So always attend, those types of events when you can. After you graduate college, no one's going to have an employer information session for you. So this is the time to do this, right? This is the time when employers are going to be knocking on your door virtually, and through Handshake. If you've got your resume posted, you've done a good job of building your Handshake profile, which we'll help you with. All you got to do is reach out to a counselor. Then those employers will see what you've done and what you're planning on doing and reach out to you directly. That is just one of the awesome benefits of that platform and being at RPI. Sometimes, students say, well, where do people go? And the answer is wherever you want to. If you say I want to work at the South Pole in Antarctica at the research station there, I promise you that employer relations team will find if there is any possible way of getting you there. That's not happened very often. Most of the time, folks prefer Bermuda, as you see on there. That's a great research experience. As Dr. Powell mentioned, that's a research internship experience in Bermuda. There's worse places to be. If you wanted to go international, you could go to a company like BMW, who has factories and plants and initiatives all across the world. Also, same thing with Northrop Grumman and NASA. I'm sure you're familiar with both of those organizations. We have a lot of students that go to the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratories. They go all across the country to those research facilities. And finally, the Humane Society is always looking for awesome students who care about animals and situations that they find themselves in and how to market and improve that. So that's an example of a civic engagement experience. However, we couldn't put all of the companies obviously on this slide where our students go, but about 2/3 of our students in any ARCH cohort do an internship, co-op, or civic engagement experience. So chances are we've got a contact at the company you want to work for. We just need to hear from you on what that company is. And our last slide is just reiterating that we're available to you. We're here to help with your Handshake profile development, as I mentioned. And if you set that up and you look at your newsletters, you're going to get opportunities sent to you. Very vending style machine, or very vending machine style, as I mentioned earlier. But you still have to apply for them, and you still have to have a good resume and be ready when those notifications come in. At the end of the day, though, that's what we're here for, is to help you be successful in your career search. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Director Bruce and Dr. Powell. We are right at the 5 o'clock mark. So now we are going to move into the full panel discussion. And before our Director of Financial Aid leaves us, I'm going to kick it off with him. I just want to say that all of the students in their registration submitted questions. And I am very, very happy that everybody was able to submit questions, although there's 1,300 plus of you. So what I did was I tried my best to condense. A lot of you had very similar questions. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try our best to get as many of those questions groups, right, answered for you all so that you can get the information that you need. I really hope that the presentations have been helpful for you. This is recorded, so you will be able to share this link with your family if they want to know a little bit more about the planning process for the financial pieces, people who are helping you to manage your finances or your FAFSA or your billing. You can share this link with them. All of that information is going to be available on the ARCH website under the ARCH Discovery Day side panel. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. And the question says, how are scholarships going to work for the summer semester when most scholarships are only paid out in the fall and spring term? Marty, you want to jump in and answer that?
Sure, absolutely. And that's a great question. And there are a couple different answers. The first one to consider is that if you're speaking towards Rensselaer-based scholarships, then we will place the scholarship so you receive your full amount for each term that you're enrolled in courses. And for example, we have the full-time enrollment expectation. As long as you're full-time, you would receive the award. For a federal Pell Grant recipient, that program allows a student to be funded for 12 months consecutive. So that student would also basically receive a third semester of aid during the ARCH year. And New York residents eligible for the New York State TAP program, that's also similar. The ARCH is the only Rensselaer program approved to receive New York State funding over the summer. So in most of the gift aid situations, it's a matter of an incremental award because it's an incremental term of enrollment for the student. So we just, again, line it all up for when the student's in classes. For some of the outside funding, we don't control those rules. If it's an individual situation and it's a local scholarship that's not going to pay for the summer, you can let us know and we can see if there's any alternatives. But typically there would not really be a plan to replace those funds. We would ask that the student request to the donor that they provide the funds for their term of enrollment, and we can provide information to help with that. But we don't pretend to control the donor decisions. We just ask for that. And if the donor can't do it, let us know and we'll see if there's something reasonable we can do. Certainly, as you've heard me say in other presentations throughout, we can't meet every expectation that's described to us. But if you never communicate or never let us know an uncomfort point, we can't do anything about it. So that's kind of how I would let that one go. The typical awards will pay for the terms as they're expected. The outside scholarships, please check with the donor first.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Marty. So we are going to go to the next question. This is a very prominent thing as students are planning for their semester away, and it is directed for the CCPD and for OUE, and I can probably offer some words on the back end as well. So I'm just going to jump right in. I heard that students are still able to go after an internship for summer 2022, and that would reschedule their summer here semester. Is there a deadline to let the school know I found an internship for summer 2022? Director Bruce, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. All right. So the thing is, RPI has some of the best, most impressive, talented students in the world. And as a result, they get impressive world-class opportunities with organizations and companies that may only offer that during the summer of 2022. If your experience that you're asking that question about qualifies as that, in other words, it's got to be a phenomenal experience that is only available to you during the summer of 2022. There is an exception process for the summer term that you could apply for. We typically see students, an example of this is, like I mentioned earlier, the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory has a research experience that is only available during the summer term. If you are successful in securing that opportunity, you let us know by submitting your ARCH exception request for career-related experiences beginning January 10th of this upcoming year. We need to have that information from you so we can evaluate it, verify it, and award you that exception by the middle of March. There is situations sometimes when students are not informed all the way up until the beginning of ARCH, and we'll do everything we can to help you realize that opportunity if you're granted it. But again, this is not a situation where if you just found an internship during the summer term, you're good to go, with an exception. It truly has to be remarkable. And the reason that's the case is because we know you get a better experience at a normal internship during a fall or spring semester. It's longer, you get more access to professional development and the colleagues around you. It's just a better semester away experience for you. So please don't think that if you just get an internship, you don't have to do summer ARCH. That's not the case. It's truly got to be phenomenal, and we'll give you some descriptors of what that looks like come January 10th.
And I would also like to have Dr. Powell just add on any additional thoughts about the ARCH exception process.
Yes, and so just to piggyback, the exception process is reviewed by the academic departments as well. And so sometimes there are other reasons that are in addition to a career, but the academic departments want to know what type of experiences you're having. So we do have a thorough process. We don't encourage you to just look for something just as a way to avoid summer ARCH. The summer semester is extremely important. You'll have an opportunity to not only just have your cohort experience and direct connection to faculty, but you also are able to just get a semester under your belt. So it's a full semester of coursework. So we want to just make sure that no one's operating in myths about, I'll just apply for an internship just to get out of it. This is not a get out of jail kind of card type of thing. It's not a prison sentence for you. It's not a punishment. It really is an opportunity for you to maximize your time. You can use your summer effectively, and you can have a full experience for the fall or the spring semester. And we want you to know that if you have that, we are fully supportive of you to be able to take advantage of that. So, but we do want you to know that we're not just going to just be okay with you just asking for an exception so you don't have to do it. So please know that there is a whole process that we follow, and we are always thinking about you and what's best for your academic trajectory.
And I would just like to add as a final note, so on the ARCH calendar, there is an outline of when all of these things and these processes open. And the ARCH exception review, and we explicitly say review because we will be providing approval or declination of the students that are submitting for these sorts of experiences. And when Director Bruce says exceptional, we are talking exceptional, and our students are really going to some really, really awesome places. And so we just want to make sure that we are transparent about that process. There are 4 categories that we currently review at this time. And even if you fall into the athletics category or the ROTC category or military duty, all of those things, you must submit the exception form for review. And once you receive the approval or the declination, then you can further get ready to plan. Those decisions usually come out before the summer term registration, which this year will be March 7th. So you will already know what your summer term will look like in preparation for the summer and for the semester away. So we want to make sure you have all that information up front. So I thank our panelists for chiming in and making sure we provided some clarity for that process. So our next question is going to be for, I guess this could be for OUE. Will there be any documentation or packets provided that outline in detail the requirements for the various options? Example, if I choose self-design experience, would I need to provide a business case and then showcase the results at the end of the semester?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for whomever submitted it. The first part of the answer is there is a plethora of information on the ARCH website. It outlines what each experience requires, the documentation that's necessary for that experience. And so you will have to provide some information that explains what your ILE self-design plan, if that's the pathway that you've selected, what it includes, your goals and objectives. So if you're looking to develop some type of business plan, you will have to say what that business plan is. You will have to say the benchmarks that you're setting for yourself, that you will keep yourself accountable to during the course of the semester. And yes, at the end, there is a submission of a reflection of an overall sort of summary of what you've done. To keep all this stuff organized, we have an LMS course that is designed for each person and each student, regardless of the experience. Every experience has an LMS course, with the exception of the international experience. All the others, there is an LMS course, and it's an opportunity for us to tether with you. As Director Bruce said, if there's any questions or concerns, we can address those. But during that course, you have the opportunity to submit what it is you're doing, the process that you're following, and I can answer any questions if you have them. And then there is a final submission of how you pulled the entire semester together, and you're reporting that out. So the answer is yes. There are also some support sessions, and I think there's a question that's similar to that, but maybe kind of connects to this. If you need help on how to get that plan together, there's support sessions available to assist students with being able to plan appropriately.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Powell. The next one is for the CCPD. What percentage of students actually get a co-op or an internship? And where can I find this information?
Well, 2/3 of the students of each of the 2 cohorts that have come through so far have done an internship, co-op, or civic engagement experience. Where you find that information is in Handshake in terms of where those opportunities are. Again, if you complete your handshake profile and you actively engage with employers through those events that I mentioned earlier, you're going to get offers. You have about 85% of the students who say they want to do an internship or co-op. So there's a gap there. That 20% is generally students who did not do the things that they needed to do to be successful, which is why we offer the career-centric ILE. It's a second chance to do that, to learn those skills and develop those behaviors that are going to allow you to be, marketable and secure whatever opportunity you want. But right now, we're about 2/3 of the students doing internships and co-ops.
Awesome, thank you. And the next one is a few general arch questions that I'm just going to tackle really quick. So the next one has to do with the registration. It says, when do I start registration for Arch summer classes and when is the semester away? So on the Arch calendar, it says the summer registration is March 7th. And there's another question here that asks, do I register for summer before fall? And the answer is yes. So your summer term registration is going to happen in early March, and your fall registration is going to happen at the end of March, early April. So if you look at your Arch calendar, both of those dates are there. And then another question that goes along with this has to do with the week in between. It says, during the week between spring semester and Arch, is there somewhere to put our stuff if we have to change housing? So let me just speak a little bit to the housing piece of things. When you get into your residential space for the sophomore year, most of those residential spaces are actually going to be designated as Arch spaces. So you will not be picking up and moving again in the summer, majority of you. There may be a few buildings that have to be turned over so you may have to move, but majority of you will have the opportunity to stay where you are currently in your sophomore housing. So in terms of that week in between spring and summer starting, you will be able to have your belongings, staying in your room, even if you're planning to take a vacation to, visit family and to just really take a breather between the spring and the summer term. So just make sure once we get to that point, we will provide the communication from Student Living and Learning and my office as well. We will make sure we communicate those things to you. So the best thing to do at this point is just to make sure your sophomore housing is taken care of. Once we get to the spring term, if you are designated to move, that will be communicated to you at that time. Okay. So the next question we're going to go with is going to be for, I think it's going to be for OUE. What Arch away option is best suited for students pursuing pre-medicine? My MCAT testing overlaps my Arch away semester, which is spring 2023. Thus, what option can enable me to benefit from this opportunity as well as study and pass my MCAT?
So a few things. For pre-med students, they typically use their ILE self-design time to study, and they create a whole study plan for themselves. If you happen to be in the BSMD program, I think that those students are the ones that are also probably our pre-med students. Some of them. If that's the case, then we have some special accommodations for students who are in that program, and that would be a unique case. And then you would just reach out to me, and we can talk to you specifically about that. But other than that, if it's students who are studying for MCATs, LSATs, any other type of graduate level entrance exam, students use their ILE self-design as a way to develop a plan for themselves, and they study, and that's what they use their time for, and that's absolutely acceptable. What we talk about are benchmarks and some things, maybe your study strategies, what type of scores do you want to attain, things like that, just to keep you focused during that time. But it's definitely something that many students take advantage of.
And another question for OUE, will the course load and Arch semester be about the same as it would during any other semester, or does this really just depend on the student? Also, if you qualify for work study and get placed, will you be able to continue the work throughout the summer? So Dr. P, you can take the first half. If Marty is still with us, he can take the second half, but if not, I can answer that. So
Okay.
the first half about the course load. Will the course load in Arch semester be about the same as it would during any other semester, or does it really depend on the student?
It is about the same. It is considered a full semester of courses. I think the difference is that it's a shorter period, a few weeks shorter than a regular semester, 12 weeks typically. And so that's what makes it more accelerated in that regard. But it is pretty much the same number of credits. In the event that you needed to not be full time because or you weren't able to because you had some type of special circumstance, there is support for that. And that's where you're going to reach out to your class dean and you would say, I don't think I'm going to be able to take a full load. Maybe there's a special circumstance. You would work with student success and we would find some other pathways to assist you so that you can make some adjustments there. But the expectation for the primary group of our students is that they take a full load. Of course, as in some are even a little bit more advanced, I think, in terms of course credit. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Dr. Powell. The next two are going to be for our CCPD. The first is, how do housing and other living expenses work if we go somewhere for a co-op? That's the first question.
Yeah, I mean, that really depends on the company that you want to go to. So there are a lot of companies that recognize that offering housing along with a nice stipend is attractive to students, and that's how they get their top talent. So again, what you would do is go to your career counselor, talk to them and say, you know, I'm in a situation where I would need housing or I would need a substantial upfront bonus in order to secure housing for myself if I live in New York and I want to work in Silicon Valley. That is the first step in helping us understand your situation and finding a company that would provide that opportunity for you. We do have other students who don't have those financial considerations, and you know, I was not one of those students, so I had to look for a company that did offer housing and a stipend when I was in college. So I'm familiar with that. Not all companies do, which is why we would want to help you target ones that actually help you in that financial situation.
Awesome, thank you. The CS majors, the computer science majors, are really, really excited about Silicon Valley. I think I got about 20 plus questions that were just asking, you know, what sorts of opportunities does the CCPD help us, you know, receive with Silicon Valley? So that's awesome that you said that, Director Bruce. So do you hear that, computer science majors? Please make sure you get plugged in because Silicon Valley is waiting for you, okay?
And we also have an amazing executive council of alumni members in Silicon Valley who would welcome you to that community. And if we were to reach out to them because we know about your situation, because you've talked to us, that they would be able to help and support you in that endeavor.
Absolutely. The second question was around civic engagement, which is a great one. It says, what sorts of activities would civic engagement be for a student in computer science? Or is it a more general civic engagement instead of focused?
Yeah, I mean, that's really what the student wants to do. So we usually find students like, let's say, a computer science student that you just described, who has a passion for you know, we'll use the Humane Society again as an example. So they've got a passion for animals. There's a lot of folks who work at the Humane Society who do not have computer science skills. And so as a result, they would welcome the opportunity for you to come and help them redesign their website, help them redesign their communication network, help them with the logistical side of things that you're specially talented in that they're not. And that would apply across the board. You know, we've had students who work at civic engagement opportunities at wastewater treatment plants, not because they're fascinated by wastewater, but because they care about public health and they want to come up with a better way of doing things. You know, in situations where there's droughts, where there's water scarcity, I mean, that's a great opportunity for you to apply your technical skill sets to a solution to a global problem. And so it really just depends on what you're passionate about, what area you want to help in, and then us helping connect you with an organization that could use your talents, whether they be computer science or anything, graphic design, it could be anything that we offer.
I also wanted to make sure I answered that second part the student had asked about work study. I didn't want to forget that part. So the work study program, Marty talked a little bit about it in his presentation, but I would say just go ahead and email finaid@rpi.edu and ask your specific financial aid counselor about the work study programs and if it can be carried over into the summer, because that would be awesome, right? So you want to just make sure that you're in contact with them about your work study in general, because if you're starting it in your sophomore year, you want to be able to continue it through the summer. That would be the team that you would be in touch with. Okay, so the next question is going to be for OUE, and it has to do, it's kind of twofold, international and research. So the first part of it, what would I research? Or what does research entail? And then do I need to know the native language of the country I will be studying at if I want to study abroad?
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to take the study abroad question first and say that that completely depends. In many of our affiliate programs, we have they're English speaking, and so it's not necessary to be able to speak the native language. In other cases, it probably would be helpful. So I can't completely answer all of those details about that, but I will say that it just does depend on the experience. And so to know more, you would want to reach out to the Office of International Programs and reach out to Karen Dvorak, and she could answer that question for you directly. She does know that there may be questions coming her way, so feel free to send her an email, and she can be able to provide that information for you. Jay, I'm sorry, can you remind me of the first
Yeah,
question?
for research, it was what would I research, and or what does research actually entail? And just to go along with that, the question below it, the students asking, will I be able to do research on campus during my Arch summer? So that's kind of like twofold. So just give a little bit more clarity for the students around research in general, just so that they know.
Absolutely. Okay, so research on with in collaboration with RPI faculty, it's going to be based on whatever that faculty member is working on, with the field, the topic. So this is where you really gain research experience or opportunities is going to be talking to your professors while you're taking classes, while you may have heard something, it may be a posting somewhere, and they're asking for people to get on their research team. So we have people that do all types of things in computer science. There are people who are even in engineering. There's some also experiences working with their faculty to be able to work on whatever projects that those individuals are working on. So what you're researching depends on who you're working with. So that's what I will say. To answer the question about whether or not you will be on campus, right now the answer is no. We are all away experiences related to research are remote in nature. However, if you are interested in taking advantage of a research experience prior to your Arch Away semester experience, we have something called URP, Undergraduate Research Programs. If that is something that's of interest to you, you will want to reach out to me and I will point you in the right direction for who you will contact about that, because that particular opportunity does have research on campus experiences. So that if that's of interest to you, please reach out. And what that does is that a lot of times it gets your feet wet on the type of research that you're interested in doing, and also allows you to be exposed to the variety of professors who may have some other extended research opportunities that you could utilize for your away semester experience.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. P. One quick question for CCPD. It says, can we do remote internships? I've seen a lot of opportunities for that. Can they do remote internships?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's if there is a silver lining to the pandemic for my chair where I sit, it's that students who could not afford to go to Silicon Valley now can work for a company in Silicon Valley remotely. We have several students at Facebook and Apple right now doing just that. So yes, we as long as you're getting your documentation to us, we're able to register you and you're filling out your work reports. It doesn't matter if it's in person or remote, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Okay, awesome. This one we have for Dean Gonyo. So it says, does Arch have requirements of credits, GPA? What if I get placed on probation?
Absolutely. So the Arch is just like every other semester in terms of grade requirements. So every semester you need to have above a 1.5 GPA to be in good academic standing, but also your cumulative GPA matters. So for your first semester sophomore year, you need to have at least a 1.8 cumulative GPA. And after that first semester, you need to have a 2.0 cumulative GPA, which you need to be able to maintain until you graduate. You have to have a 2.0 in order to graduate. If you end up on academic probation at any point, you can still progress. Like I met the last time I was a sophomore class dean during the summer arch, I absolutely met with students over the summer. So, you know, don't panic. If you end up on probation, it doesn't affect your arch status now, or if it were to be that semester. Just hang in there. And again, if you need support, I'm here, ALAC's here. Don't hesitate to reach out for support.
Awesome, thank you. And then I'm going to take, there's a few that I can just knock out really quickly as we are closing in on the 5:30 mark. So we have about 4 minutes. One student is asking what semester is more popular for students to do their semester away. So I'm just going to tell you in terms of the split, as far as when students go, majority of this, it's like a 60-40 split in a traditional cohort when we did 2019, 2020. So most of the students want to do spring, but there is a good majority that want to do the fall, the 40%. And I'll say this is why. As you're progressing through the sophomore year, you're going to take classes this fall. You're going to take classes in the spring. Then you're going to have maybe a week or two off, and then you're going to take classes in the summer. Some students cannot consecutively just, you know, continue and really want to utilize that fall away break time where they can do ILE self-design, or they have secured an actual experience. It's your semester away is really turning off the brain to all of the theory that you have been subjected to learning, right? And the pedagogy you're subjected to making sure you understand. The semester away is really an opportunity to experience the life of what you want to do with your career. So if you need to, you know, take the fall away, I want to talk a bit about semester away designation changes. So when you make the selection in spring, you're going to select whether you want to be away in the fall or the spring. That will be your designation. The only way that designation changes is if we have one of two things happen. If you have an opportunity, let's say you work with, let's say you go to the career fair, just throw that out there, right? Let's say you go to the career fair and instead of securing something for your away term, which you thought was spring, you actually got something for fall. We would absolutely change your semester away so that you can take that opportunity. And we work really, really close with the CCPD. They let us know, hey, the student secured this opportunity. Let's go ahead and switch their semester away. They're all set. It literally is the click of a button for us once we know the documentation is there and in place. The other reason that we would make a designation change is related to academic matriculation concerns. That means that you've had a major change, or you've picked up a minor. If you've gone from architecture to School of Lally, right? So Lally School of Management, your entire curriculum is changing. So we really try to make sure we support the students in those sorts of efforts as well. When you have your faculty advisors advocacy, or your hub advisor advocacy, or your class dean advocacy, you need to make sure that those things are accompanying your request. We cannot switch your semester away because you neglected to plan. So once we get to the end of summer term, if you are a fall away term student and you say, oh, I didn't have enough time, oh, I just feel like I need to just, you know, take a little more time, that is actually not a valid reason for a semester away designation. So please make sure you have your rationale under career-related experience secured, or an academic matriculation concern that you're experiencing. And we will happily make the changes for you. Was there anything else that our CCPD or Dr. Powell, you guys want to add to that, or we feel like that's a pretty good one to go?
I think it's good. I think you kind of focus on a point that I wanted to make about, in the event that there's a course conflict, your hub managers are usually very good at making sure that they reach out, and sometimes they're advocating for you. So yeah, sometimes that does happen. You lost sight of when a course was offered and it conflicts. So I wanted to make that point. Also, Jay, just to let you know, there were some other questions that were coming in, but I'm sure that we can respond to those on different platforms to make sure that we're answering all of those questions that they come in live as we've been online.
Perfect. So we have the live feed. Dr. Powell, do you want to answer? We want to just kick out maybe one or two. We're at the 5:30 point now. And I know we've had hundreds of questions. So I hope that our presentation has answered majority of the questions for you all. I really think as I was looking through the questions, a lot of it has been answered throughout the presentation. So Dr. Powell, if you want to take one of those questions that we have that are live, just to make sure that we cover one of those, and then we will wrap up our session for today.
Absolutely. This question is probably for you, Jade. It says, what are the plans for allowing students to socialize and use facilities this semester? Last semester, physical and mental wellness was sacrificed for the entire student body, despite the spread of COVID coming from outside events, typically of large off-campus parties. So they just want to know what kind of opportunities are going to be afforded them.
Well, I know for a fact the summer term was really a time where we were trying our best to get our footing of what we could do indoors or what we could do outdoors. Our students really heavily utilized the flexibility that we were allowed to have with the no outdoor restraints. So one thing that's working for us is that our Rensselaer community should be vaccinated, all faculty, staff, and students. That's the first thing. The second thing is, as far as activities are concerned, we really are going to be deferring to the department specifically. So for example, when we're thinking about the fall student activities fair, that is where we're going to defer to our Rensselaer Union about what students are going to be able to do, and really looking at the capacity limits for what we can host indoors. Are we, able to host it, and what is the capacity of students? If it's outdoors, there's a lot more flexibility there. And when we think about mental health and wellness, we are completely aware that we're trying to re-engage students in this sort of social experience because it's been neglected, right, because of the pandemic. So that is where we are really trying to open as we get better with testing, with vaccinations. We do plan to have ARCH planning workshops for students. Please stay in touch with your residential deans and assistants, the RAs, because they are going to be disseminating the information once you all move in. So sophomore move-in is going to be scheduled for the end of the week, right, Dean Gonyo? So they'll be moving in on the 27th. You guys are going to receive a lot of good information about what is available for social gatherings, and we really want you to take advantage of it. And Dean Gonyo, do you want to close us out with what we're planning for the sophomores as they get ready to come back to campus? Because I think you guys will be excited about that.
Yeah, I can just give like a sneak peek of a couple things. I do have for the night the night you move in, so you'll come Friday, you'll get tested. Everyone will be required to do a building quarantine for the first day. But for that night you move in, the Friday night, I do have the pub is putting on trivia for you all. That morning, Saturday morning, I've arranged for 2 virtual fitness classes. I am in the final stretches of preparing a barbecue for you all on Saturday. Saturday night, you'll be able to join the first year students for a comedian and a movie up at ECAV. Sunday, I've arranged for you all to have access to campus tours because I know some of you all have never been on campus before. And there may be, I think that's it. I tried to find a balance between getting you all out and on campus and engaged, but still letting you kind of get settled in before classes started on Monday. So, we really are excited to see you. And like I mentioned before, challenge yourself, get out there. I know, you might only have a small group of friends right now because last year was kind of weird. Take advantage of these outdoor events where there's going to be lots of people. The barbecue, we're going to have lawn games. It's going to be great. There may or may not be some raffles. Come, it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dean Gonyo. So this is going to be the wrap up, and we thank you guys for joining us. Remember that this is a recorded session, even though we are live. It is going to be recorded and added to the ARCH website, so you can go back and view this information at any time. Please connect with all of our panelists and their offices and the information that they have provided you. If you have not downloaded your ARCH calendar for the year with all of the different experiences outlined and reiterated, please make sure you do that. So as you're planning for your semester away, you know exactly which semester away opportunities are available and who to reach out to. If we can assist you guys in anything, please email us at thearch@rpi.edu. We are wishing you the best sophomore year, and we will see you after moving. Everybody take care and have a good evening.